Live from New Delhi, you're watching DT India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi celebrates Diwali with soldiers on India-Pakistan border in Kutch, Gujarat. Hails security personnel's dedication to protect nation in inhospitable places. In one of the deadliest attacks on northern Israel, Hezbollah's rocket attacks claimed 7 lives, even as US calls for diplomatic resolution to Israel-Hezbollah conflict in Lebanon. In the United States, tight presidential race between Democrat Kamala Harris and Republican Donald Trump as both try to win over undecided voters. India prepares to face New Zealand in the final test at Wankhede Stadium, Mumbai today. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi celebrated Diwali with soldiers deployed on the India-Pakistan border in Gujarat's Kutch. DD India's Abhishek Bose brings us more.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited Gujarat's Kutch to celebrate Diwali with border security force personnel deployed on the India-Pakistan border. Prime Minister Modi offered sweets to the soldiers. PM Modi praised BSF Jawans for keeping India's borders safe and secure despite challenges. Prime Minister also highlighted country's rapid strides in exporting defense equipment to several nations of the world.
आज विक्रांत जैसा मेड इन इंडिया एयरक्राफ्ट कैरियर देश के पास है। आज भारत में अपनी सबमरीन बनाई जा रही है। आज हमारा तेजस फाइटर प्लेन वायुसेना की ताकत बन रहा है। पहले भारत की पहचान हथियार मंगाने वाले देश की थी। आज भारत दुनिया के कितने ही देशों को डिफेंस उपकरण एक्सपोर्ट कर रहा है।
Prime Minister also stressed that his government will never compromise with even an inch of India's land.
आज देश में एक ऐसी सरकार है जो देश की सीमा के 1 इंच से भी समझौता नहीं कर सकती। एक समय था जब डिप्लोमेसी के नाम पर सर क्रीक को छल से हड़पने की पॉलिसी पर काम हो रहा था। मैंने तब गुजरात के मुख्यमंत्री के रूप में भी देश की आवाज को बुलंद किया था। आज जब हमें जिम्मेदारी मिली है तो हमारी नीतियां हमारी सेनाओं के संकल्पों के हिसाब से बनती है। हम दुश्मन की बातों पर नहीं, हमारी सेनाओं के संकल्पों पर भरोसा करते हैं।
This isn't the first time Prime Minister Modi has celebrated Diwali with soldiers. Since becoming Prime Minister in 2014, Narendra Modi has made it a point to celebrate Diwali with soldiers stationed in different parts of the country. He started this tradition in 2014 by visiting Siachen, one of the toughest terrains in the world. The next year, he visited the Punjab border, followed by Sumdo near the China border in Himachal Pradesh in 2016. In 2017, he spent Diwali with soldiers in Jammu and Kashmir's Gurez sector. In 2018, he visited Uttarakhand's Harsel, and in 2019, he celebrated Diwali in Jammu and Kashmir's Rajouri. He also visited Rajasthan's Longewala in 2020. In recent years, Prime Minister Modi has continued this tradition by visiting Kashmir's Nowshera in 2021 and Jammu and Kashmir's Kargil in 2022 and Himachal Pradesh Lepcha in 2023. As Prime Minister Narendra Modi celebrates Diwali with soldiers, it's a reminder that the true spirit of the festival lies in the bravery and sacrifice of those who protect our nation.
भारत माता की
Abhishek Bose for DD India.
Festival of Lights Diwali is also being celebrated across the globe. A number of world leaders extended their wishes on Diwali, while foreign diplomatic missions in India celebrated the festival with much enthusiasm. More in our next report.
Cutting across boundaries and borders, Diwali unites all. People from all over the globe celebrate this festival, giving a message of unity and harmony. White House military band played Om Jai Jagdish Hare for Diwali. Several landmarks in US were also lit up to mark the Festival of Lights. These include New York's Times Square. While Ambassador of India to the US, Vinay Mohan Kwatra, attended Diwali celebration at the White House, hosted by President Joe Biden and First Lady Dr. Jill Biden. Extending greetings, White House said that Happy Diwali from the White House. Together, may we show the power in the gathering of light. In US, decked up with lamps and rangolis, the Permanent Mission of India to the United Nations held a grand gala. The event was attended by envoys from different countries including Egypt, UAE, Portugal, Singapore, Maldives, among others. The Diwali festive fever also gripped foreign diplomatic missions in the Indian capital of New Delhi. The US Embassy marked the occasion with music and dance. Celebrations were also held at the Japanese Embassy, while French Ambassador Thierry Mathieu used UPI, or India's digital payment system, to buy sweets at a market in New Delhi. Besides, a number of world leaders extended their greetings on Diwali. Calling Diwali an extraordinarily beautiful celebration of faith and culture, Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said that the festival's rituals are in every way an expression of community. New Zealand Prime Minister Christopher Luxon expressed his wishes for a meaningful, vibrant and joyful Diwali. Taking to social media site X, UAE President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan said, and I quote, "May the year ahead bring peace, health and happiness to you and your families." Bhutan Prime Minister Tshering Tobgay hoped that Diwali brings harmony, happiness and prosperity to every home in the country and around the world. In Scotland, a charity organisation held a reception at the Scottish Parliament, which was attended by the First Minister of Scotland, John Sweeney. The spirit of Diwali resonates with messages of joy, hope and above all harmony. The festival is a unique occasion to highlight the rich tapestry of cultures and traditions in our society. Bureau Report, DD India.
UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer also celebrated the festival of Diwali. He extended Diwali greetings, wishing joy to all celebrating across the UK. In his message, he highlighted the festival as a time of unity, abundance and the triumph of light over darkness, wishing families a joyful celebration. Atlanta in Georgia is all decked up for Diwali celebrations. From stores selling items of Diwali festivities to temples getting ready for community gatherings. DD India correspondent Shubhendu Ghosh reports.
Amidst the bustle of the presidential elections, the US is gearing up to celebrate Diwali. From the White House to different parts of the country. In Atlanta, Georgia, we visit a grocery store near the downtown area. It was well stocked with items of Diwali festivities like crackers, diyas, decorative items and idols of gods and goddesses.
We are excited about Diwali. Definitely we're gonna go to the temple and celebrate Diwali with the Indian community. We feel like homely. I would say it's not like we are so far from India.
Next to the grocery store was an Indian restaurant that had prepared special delicacies for the Diwali festivities. In the evening, we visit the famous Babs Swaminarayan temple. The temple is the center of community life here.
This mandir is very, very important to the Indian society, Indian community. We are bonded, we find our roots in the Indian culture. This is very, very important, particularly for the young generation, to learn about our culture, stay connected with our culture, and be proud of our culture.
Diwali is our subcontinental festival. This temple is our Georgia's heritage.
Happy Diwali!
The temple is renowned for organizing Diwali celebrations that span over many days. There may be a time difference of about 9.5 hours between Atlanta and Ayodhya. There is no difference in the spirit of Diwali celebrations. Just as Indian Americans are located all over United States, similarly, the light from the Diwali lamps illuminate the whole of America. With camera person Jayashankar, Shubhendu Ghosh for DT India in Atlanta.
IMF's Geeta Gopinath shared a video on Thursday featuring the White House military band playing the prayer Om Jai Jagdish Hare as part of Diwali celebrations. The White House hosted a Diwali celebration to honor the contributions of Indian Americans to the US-India bond. Recently, the American First Lady Jill Biden and President Joe Biden hosted a Diwali celebration at the White House on October 28th, inviting Indian Americans from across United States to attend. This was the couple's last Diwali celebration as President and First Lady. Over the years, the Biden's Diwali celebration has added a unique touch to this luminous tradition. Addressing the White House Diwali celebrations, the US President said, extended Diwali greetings to the people, highlighting its significance and acknowledged that today the festival is proudly celebrated in the White House. The United Arab Emirates has transformed into a vibrant celebration of lights and culture as the Hindu festival of Diwali sweeps across the nation. The festivities have evolved into a countrywide event embracing all communities. In Bur Dubai, locally known as Mini India, residents have been preparing for weeks, decorating homes and shopping for traditional items. Major landmarks across Dubai have organized special events. Al Seef Global Village and Festival City Mall are hosting fireworks displays, while shopping centers and local businesses have introduced Diwali-themed promotions and decorations. The festival has emerged as a symbol of UAE's multicultural fabric, bringing together people from various backgrounds in a shared celebration of light and unity.
It's just amazing being here. There's so many different cultures, especially this is my favorite one, the Indian one. All the foods are delicious, the jewelry, the color, the lights are amazing. It's just such a great feeling around here.
All right, let's see what's happening across the globe. Mexico has repatriated pre-Hispanic colonial artifacts from the US. It includes a piece of chupicuaro, which is an ancient culture from Western Mexico. The piece represents a painted woman and is very similar to the emblematic piece of the Kay Branly Museum in Paris. In Germany, dozens of costumed people visited Burg Königstein Castle for Halloween event. For the first time in 46 years since the previous location, Frankenstein Castle is undergoing extensive renovation. All Hallows Day or All Saints Day was when Catholics honored their saints. For Metropolitan Opera Orchestra, violinist Sarah Fonzattel will be playing at a polling station in New York City. Fonzattel is one of the thousands of volunteers who are part of Play for the Vote. It was started in 2020 by Boston-based cellist Mike Block to improve people's voting experience and to help musicians engage positively amid divisive rhetoric and political tensions. Residents in the southern Mexican town of Pomuch participated annually in a centuries-old tradition of cleaning the bones of their deceased relatives, a tribute to the dead in the run-up to the Day of the Dead. Local folklore says that the spirit of a Pomuch native may become irate and wander aimlessly through the streets if their remains are not properly cared for. And still to come on this edition of DD India Live. In Georgia, opposition seems not happy over latest poll results, calls for protest. And UAE extends grace period for residency violators. We will give you all the updates of IPL Retention 2025. Stay tuned.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
You're watching DD India Live. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. US pushed for a diplomatic resolution to end the conflict between Israel and Hezbollah as a rocket attack by Hezbollah on Israel claimed at least 7 lives. The victims were agricultural laborers. Hezbollah said it had launched several rocket and artillery attacks against Israeli forces. Israeli air defenses intercepted rockets fired from Lebanon as the IDF continued its campaign against Hezbollah. Meanwhile, US Secretary of State Antony Blinken said that there has been progress on an understanding of requirements for the effective implementation of UNSC Resolution 1701, which calls for withdrawal of Hezbollah from Israel-Lebanon border.
This would be the basis of a diplomatic resolution to the crisis. It's important to make sure that we have clarity, both from Lebanon and from Israel, about what would be required under 1701 to get its effective implementation. The withdrawal of Hezbollah forces from the border, the deployment of the Lebanese armed forces, the authorities under which they'd be acting, an appropriate enforcement mechanism.
Days after Israel launched airstrikes on Iran, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warned that Israel has the capability to reach anywhere in Iran should the need arise.
Israel today has more freedom of action in Iran than ever. We can reach any place in Iran as necessary. The supreme goal I gave to Israel Defense Forces and the security branches is to prevent Iran from achieving a nuclear weapon.
Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, along with their running mates J.D. Vance and Tim Walz, are on the final leg of their campaigns, with just days left until the U.S. presidential election. Trump is campaigning in New Mexico and Nevada, while Harris is holding events in Arizona and Nevada. Both the Republican and Democratic camps are confident of winning the Oval Office, with polls predicting a close race. Early voting has already started, showing a steady turnout in many states. Vice President Kamala Harris warned supporters at a Phoenix rally that Republican Donald Trump and his allies would scale back Obamacare and other healthcare programs if he wins the White House, and said his comments at a rally were offensive to women.
And on top of that, Donald Trump still wants to get rid of the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, and he has a powerful friend in Congress, the Speaker of the House, who recently said, if Trump wins, there will be, quote, no Obamacare, which would understand the meaning of that. It would throw millions of Americans off of their health insurance and take us back to the time which we remember when insurance companies could deny people with pre-existing conditions Well, we are not going back. We are not going back.
Meanwhile, Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump flew to New Mexico on Thursday for a campaign stop in a state he lost by 10 percentage points in 2020. Trump specifically quoted Latino voters at the rally and said that he expects fraudulent voting in Tuesday's election, echoing his false claims of fraud in 2020.
You know, on the East Coast, they like being called Hispanics. You know this? On the West Coast, they like being called Latinos. So, poll, give me a free poll. You know, I don't have to spend $300,000. First is going to be Latinos, next is Hispanics, right? Which do you prefer? Latinos. Uh-oh. Let me give it one more shot. Latinos. Hispanics.
Former US President Donald Trump has strongly condemned the violence against Hindus and other minorities in Bangladesh. The Republican presidential candidate has vowed to strengthen his ties with India and Prime Minister Narendra Modi, whom he called a good friend if he was elected again. In a Diwali message, Trump extended his greetings on the occasion and accused his Democratic rival and Vice President Kamala Harris and President Joe Biden of ignoring Hindus in the US and across the world. In July-August, several members of the Hindu community in Bangladesh were attacked by mobs after a students' agitation over a controversial quota system turned into a massive anti-government protest, which resulted in the ouster of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. 3 Georgian opposition parties have called for street protests, saying the election was rigged. An early exit pollster said that the official result was statistically impossible. The Georgian Central Election Commission announced that the ruling party, Georgian Dream, won the election with 54% of the vote. The opposition and the president of Georgia, Salome Zurabishvili, called the results fake, and the prosecutor's office launched an investigation. While the Election Commission has insisted the vote was free and fair, monitoring missions has pointed to severe allegations of voting violations, which Western countries said must be fully investigated. Georgian opposition leaders said sustained protests were key to their plan to challenge the election results. Moldova's president has hailed a historic step after the top court recognized the results of October 20 referendum, paving the way for the country to join the EU. The 6 judges of the Eastern European nations' constitutional court ruled with a majority of votes that the criteria for validating the referendum have been met. Moldova's 20th of October referendum on EU membership, held alongside presidential elections, passed by a majority of 50.35%. The referendum and an election held on the same day were marred by allegations of election meddling. Thursday's court decision paves the way for Moldova to change its constitution to affirm its push to join the 27-nation bloc as a goal. The ruling comes just days before a second round of presidential elections in which Moldova's pro-European president Maia Sandu faces pro-Russian candidate Alexander Stoyanoglu. And in eastern Spain, the death toll from devastating flash floods has climbed to 158 on Thursday, with rescue teams still searching for those missing. The floods have battered Valencia's infrastructure, sweeping away bridges, roads, rail tracks and submerged farmland. Hundreds of soldiers have been deployed to Valencia to assist with the operation. More rain is expected to fall on Friday, posing risk of new flooding. The tragedy is already Spain's worst flood-related disaster in over 5 decades, and meteorologists say human-driven climate change is making such extreme weather events more frequent and destructive. The UAE's amnesty scheme for visa violators has been extended until the end of this year. The Federal Authority for Identity, Citizenship, Customs and Port Security, known as ICP, has announced a 2-month extension now until December 31st, 2024. This decision aligns with UAE's 53rd Union Day celebrations and reflects the country's humanitarian values. It also responds to appeals from individuals wishing to legalize their status by either leaving the country or obtaining employment and modifying their residency status. The amnesty scheme, which began on September 1st, was initially scheduled to end on October 31st. The Director General of the ICP said This additional grace period represents the final opportunity for violators to rectify their status without incurring fines or facing entry bans. Once the amnesty period concludes, fines will be imposed on violators. All right, and India will be desperate to bounce back in the third test against New Zealand starting on Friday in Mumbai. New Zealand have already clinched the series after winning the first 2 matches of the 3-test series. They have climbed to 4th position in the World Test Championship. Kiwis must win their remaining 4 tests to secure a place in the WTC final. Following India tour, New Zealand will play a 3-match series against England at home. Meanwhile, India finds itself in a tricky situation after losing the series on home soil. This defeat has significantly impacted their chances of reaching the WTC final. India must win all 6 remaining tests in this cycle to secure the top spot. If they lose any of these games, Rohit Sharma's side will need other teams vying for the top 2 spots to falter. As the deadline for the retention of players ended on Thursday, all Indian Premier League franchises revealed the names of retained who retained in fact their 6 players ahead of the mega auction. Chennai Super Kings has retained MS Dhoni as uncapped player, while Rohit Sharma and Hardik Pandya both were retained by their franchises. Mumbai Indians, Delhi Capitals has made the bold call to cut Rishabh Pant from their lineup and decided to keep Akshar Patel as their main pick. That's all for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.